part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Support for Podcast 616 is brought to you by Newark and Zanesville AutoBody. Safe, reliable collision repairs are their business. Local, family-run, and veteran-owned business serving Newark, Ohio, and Zanesville, Ohio, and surrounding areas. And guess what? They work with all insurance providers to make your experience hassle-free. Plus, ask about their special discounts for U.S. military veterans. Visit them today at AutoBodyOfNewark.com and AutoBodyOfZanesville.com to get your repair started. Their iCar Gold Class team of skilled collision repair technicians will make your vehicle like new again. Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today we are beginning the discussion of the finale of X-Men 97. This is episode 8, finale part 1, entitled Tolerance is Extinction, aka There's Something About Trish. Joining me today are two wonderful guests who agreed to do this podcast so early. It feels early to me for some reason, even though I'm always doing this at 10 a.m. We're also producer list. Producer Michael is not here for all you sicko fans who love producer Michael. He gone. So we're doing it alone. Joining me today, I really need their support because we have no producer. My first guest, local badass and international comedian. You've heard him talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp, and you've heard him talk about Carnage, Venom 2, Let Them Eat Carnage. Can he talk about something that's not a sequel? Let's find out. Please welcome Jeff Murdoch.
What's up? Hello. We're here.
We're here. Jeff, there are beautiful butterflies behind you.
I feel like much like a mutant, I started off as a little worm, but I evolved into a butterfly.
That's how you know they're a mutant. They start as a worm.
Mm-hmm. All mutants are worms, and then they become butterflies.
Yeah, that's the kind of accuracy we're going to give you on this episode today. My second guest joining us on the call, they are just admitted to us they are Jeff's clone on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
And they're also a comedian, artist, and illustrator extraordinaire. Please welcome Collin Dahlgren.
Hey, so nice to be here.
Yeah, second time on the pod. Last time you were also talking about a sequel.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2, the sequel of sequels.
Ooh.
Truly.
Is that Andrew Garfield?
Yep, it was Andrew Garfield.
The Gur himself.
I didn't see that one.
Don't do it.
What's for sequel nuts? What sequel is more painful, that or the Carnage one?
That
Ooh.
one.
Really?
I would say Amazing
makes
Spider-Man
sense.
2. Yeah.
I would say that, like, because Carnage, you kind of like know that it's going to be bad, like right out of the gate. But Amazing Spider-Man 2, you were like, oh, okay, I could see this being good. It like looked good in the trailers, but it was just a real pile of crap.
Wow.
Yeah. There's something about them when they try to make it good and it's bad.
Yeah.
More painful. But things that are trying to be good and are good, this episode of X-Men 97. Welcome you two to the conversation. Jeff Murdoch, you have been slowly watching this show, I believe.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes when I was house sitting for a friend who had Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you asked me to do this, I watched the other 7 this week so I kind of binged.
And we appreciate it. We at Podcast 6 really appreciate you for doing that.
It's the only way I know how to watch TV. 3 at a time and then 7 later on.
Mm-hmm. Painful in the conversation of consumption of art. But for getting ready for this podcast, hell yes, brother. Collin Dahlgren, you've only seen this episode. Is that correct?
Well, I watched the first 3 episodes when it first came out.
Yeah.
And
good episodes, right?
Really good episodes. And then I kind of fell off. I was working a lot. I didn't come back to it. I watch a unhealthy amount of reality television, which takes up most of my brain space. So I don't have
which
time
ones?
for Vanderpump Rules is one that's a big one, and also the Vanderpump Villa that just came out on Hulu, which is enjoyable but also so dumb.
Man, Lisa Vanderpump's really got you under her thumb.
She really does. And you know what? I'm watching those shows, and I'm they're edited for they're nice edits for her to be oh, look at what a wonderful businesswoman she is. But then I'm oh, I don't think she's very nice or smart or good at her job. Even she's really just a brand name that everybody can
Yeah,
recognize.
get behind.
Right. So it's really just me wanting to find the truth of the Vanderpump brand, and not that I'm a loyal devotee of her regime.
Ooh, shame.
Regime. I would say, who could say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say who you are following, who you are loyal to? Who's super loyal? People who
Yeah,
love Bastion. There you go. Nailed it.
nice. That
Um,
was really good.
Thank you, Jeff. Talk to me about Saint Bastion, our boy, little pink purple boy. How are you liking him? Is he a satisfying villain for you? Are you happy that he's our big bad villain we're finally meeting?
Well, what I'll say about this show that I do like is I think we talked about it before. But I was a big fan of the X-Men cartoon in the 90s. I never really read a lot of the comics, just like the really good ones my friends told me to. But I like the smorgasbord of like things we've like people we've seen in this so far, because I feel like so often in the movies it's the Phoenix, it's Magneto is the bad guy. So I'm kind of like digging like Magneto not as the bad guy, and like not the Phoenix being the thing they're worried about. So I'm just liking this a new taste. It's like going to a new ice cream shop.
Yes. New ice cream, new taste. Collin Dahlgren, same question. Bastion, the man, the myth, the legend.
I honestly, I really like his style. I do like the purple pink outfits that he wears. He's very dapper, even when he's like wearing a suit.
Yes.
Um, I didn't recognize the voice at first of the actor that plays him, but it is Theo James from White Lotus and the Divergent series. And I was like,
Shout out to the Divergent series.
shout out, gone far
Divergent.
too soon.
Mhm. I think they did everything we needed to do.
No, I think we needed at least 2 or 3 more movies, maybe
Oh,
even a miniseries.
I can't believe you
oh.
mentioned Divergent on on my podcast. Come on.
Yeah, like Vanderpump Rules and Divergent. What
I
am
know.
I even doing here, Damon? What am I doing here?
I
I
personally
don't
love
know.
it.
Yeah, I think he's a good villain. I think the best part about good villains is that you can see the humanity behind them, and kind of their ideas, what turned them into a villain, and
Hmm.
it makes sense to them, but it is inherently evil. And I think that that's kind of what Bastion has, is just a thought, a wish for the future, but it is misguided and ultimately evil.
Ultimately, yes. I find him fascinating. It's such a painful origin story, which, I mean, you let me know if you want to go into the weeds of everything about Bastion and the time traveliness of it all. But I do agree. I like that he's a villain that has like a real pain point in his origin of like, is he even real? Like, does he even have a choice in this? Because he was kind of like bred a little bit by machines to, fulfill their dream, their machine dream of wiping out mutants from the planet. And it's like, it's so sad that he like has no agency. It's just kind of like he's programmed to do this. And he has that humanity and he doesn't I don't think he would want to if he had a choice.
No,
Yeah, same.
yeah, he probably want to just have a regular job and hang out on the weekends with his boys.
Yeah. Like, do you think we could be Bastion's boys?
Bastion's boys, yeah, I think we'd be,
A
we
couple of
definitely,
BBBs,
yeah.
Trip B?
triple
Yo, what's
Bs.
up with the BBBs?
Okay. You decided we are Bastion boys going forward.
Bastion Boys
Improv.
for life.
Bastion
Bastion
boys
Boys,
for
ride or
life.
die.
Yeah,
We ride together, we die together. Bastion Boys for life.
hell yeah.
Okay. So we love the Bastion boys. You know who
Yeah.
else loves their boy?
Who?
Scott and Jean
Got
reconnecting
Summers.
with Cable, aka
Uh,
Nathan.
yeah. Who is, I mean, it's hard to say like what a genealogy is, because technically not Gene's kid, right?
All right.
Right.
But I mean, I guess if you're a clone, I guess you're like the mom still. I don't know. Cloning is tricky.
Yeah, Jeff, you've kind of been saying that you're a clone expert, I want to say.
Yeah, well, if you've heard of that sheep Dolly back in the day, I
Mhm.
worked on that team to bring it into existence, and then I headlined the
Holy
team
shit.
of taking it out of existence.
Wow.
We got too
You-
close to God that day, so I had to correct some things.
I love the term. Is that the official term? You headlined the team.
Yep. I was a part of the team. It was like it was like an improv team before, and then it was like my sketch show with people assisting afterwards. My
just love
solo show with a director.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the term touched God that day. It's
Yeah,
just like
Yes.
like what
we got
part?
too
Like did
close.
you just like glance his lips like with your finger?
We glanced his inner thigh, and
Oof.
it was God was angered and aroused.
And I understand where God's coming from because, as I've said, almost every episode of this podcast, I am anti-clone. This is an
Yeah,
anti-clone podcast. That's where I draw the line.
absolutely, as you should be. Yeah, but in this instance, it worked, kind of, right?
I mean, yeah, we get a son of a clone. What's there to say about Cable? Colin Dahlgren, I feel like you delve into comics a little bit. Do you have any
Yes.
insight on Cable? And
Tell us
yeah,
about Cable.
tell us about Cable, Colin.
Cable, well, Cable the character, like I think I know pretty much what everybody knows about Cable the character from the future, son of Scott Summers and Jean Grey / Madeline Pryor.
Mhm.
But I will say that when I was reading the comics as a kid, they were like the fanciest drawn comics, which were like he was in the New Mutants and then he was in X Force, which was drawn by Rob Liefeld, who famously cannot draw feet. And so like every single like splash page that he does, like it's full body figures, but then at the bottom it's just like a cloud like or dust or like
Wow,
whatever fog is like around the feet because he
Oh, that's
can't
so funny.
draw them.
Yeah.
that's
And then
wild.
for Cable, he like drew a lot of pouches, which is like he's got a lot of pouches like on
Yeah,
his outfit. And that was just kind of like famous for X-Force as well. They all had a lot of pouches that you
what are they
never
storing
really
those
knew what were in
pouches?
them. I have no idea. Like
Damn.
honestly, I guess ammo would be the
Yeah,
Not the helpful grenades that can take out the Prime Sentinels. He
yeah.
ran out
They
of
don't have
those.
enough of those. Wait, so also, what's Cable's? He's a mutant still, right?
he is.
Yes.
Okay, and his power is guns.
They
Uh,
pretty I feel like in part two they play pretty fast and loose with what his powers can do.
okay,
Uh but it seems like if you're from the future, like because the same goes for Bishop as well, who's also a mutant, but also
yeah,
mainly just carries guns. It seems like I mean, it's a war-torn future, so everyone's just like
guns.
armed,
Yeah,
and they don't
but
use
do
their
they have
powers.
do yeah? I guess a question for Bishop as well. Are their powers besides guns? I mean, because in that case, aren't they just like humans who like guns?
Yeah,
I think
they're
Bishop can
born.
actually absorb like energy and then
Okay,
redistribute it like as his own energy. So if he gets like hit by an optic blast from Cyclops, then he can kind of like
use
absorb
that.
that and then like use it back. Yeah.
That's pretty
Mhm.
sick. So you can't beat him then.
Unless you hit him with so much energy that he can't absorb it, and you
Oh,
have to
Mhm.
like,
you
yeah,
can't hurt him. You can only kill him. I get it.
yeah, it's like not any middle of the road. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I also love about these, well, I mean, I'm sure you've talked about these other podcasts or these other episodes, but just like the 90ness of everything. I mean,
Mhm.
I kind of love that it is set in like 1997. I'm like, a period piece for back in then like 97, like when the old
I
X-Men
know.
stopped. But yeah, no, I do love that Cable and Bishop are like 90s comic book artists
Yeah.
idea of what the future is like. Yeah, everyone's gonna be dressing like this. It looks so sick, pouches everywhere.
Yes, and we learned that the future that Cable comes from is it's what a 300-year war begins between human and mutants, and it ends up with mutants being enslaved by Prime Sentinels, and it all begins today. We also get an update. Cable tried to save Madeline when that Sentinel attacked Genosha.
Mhm.
He tried 200 times to
Yeah,
save his mom.
but
Couldn't do
it's
it.
an anchor point or one of those Marvel like you can't change these things.
Yes, yes, like a fixed point in time.
Yeah.
We also get in all this debrief thing, we get Professor X is revealed alive on the spaceship, bearing an Empress. Listen to episode 6 for my thoughts about that.
I mean, the Marvel's too big at this point. When you're like dealing with like intergalactic empires, I'm like, okay, let's see what Spider-Man can do.
Honestly,
least-
that is nice about Spider-Man because it's like a neighbor. It's like Queens.
Yeah,
Like all he
Yeah.
has is Queens,
I'm
and
like,
you
I
don't
need
have to like go into
to.
the outer space.
I know I gotta like focus down, and be like, okay, you stop a mugger. I
Yeah, I I agree. I don't
yeah.
really want to deal with the political spectrum of the Shi'ar Empire.
Or the Eternals or any of that fun jazz.
Don't say the Eternals.
Have you done the Eternals yet?
You mean the
Yeah.
best movie
Yeah.
in the Marvel canon, right?
I
The
listener, I
Eternals.
am canceling friendships left and right. Colin Jeff cut out of my life.
You know that the Eternals is a canon, but also so is Nomadland.
In the MCU, Nomadland.
Yeah, yeah. Same. What's her name? Chloe's. Wait, is her name?
Chloe
Francis
Zhao.
McDormand.
The director.
Oh,
Sorry.
Chloe Zhao with Zhao.
Zhao.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, that was her one. I heard when she took. I know this isn't the Eternals podcast, but this is
But
a
you're
fun
trying to
little
get
fact.
into it.
This is a fun fact I learned. What she said, I will direct Eternals under one condition: Nomadland is canon.
Yeah. Did you
And
know that
Kevin Feige was like, yeah,
the dishes that David Strathairn accidentally drops in Nomadland, those were Charles Xavier's.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know when Francis McDormand is pooping in that bucket in her van, that becomes the Blob, the really fat mutant. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen Nomadland?
Just the once, and I liked it, but I also thought like, okay, not to turn this into a Nomadland podcast now. I liked it, but like it seemed like the women in it that were like the real people living the life loved the life, and then the movie was kind of like poking fun at the life and saying this life's bullshit.
Yes. Yes. Uh, so it's
And not
also
to turn into that.
What
Let's
else?
get back to this episode. I'm
How about
sorry.
X-Mad Land?
Ooh, okay.
So a little bit like Nomadland, Jubilee and Roberto have gone on a road trip to New York City to check in with Roberto's mom. I think she's iconic.
Roberto's mom.
Yeah, Roberto's mom. She's like, oh my God, I don't care that you're a mutant. You just can't tell anybody ever at any time. And she's throwing a fundraiser for those poor souls of Genosha so she could save face. She's a businesswoman. I respect her.
She's a businesswoman. She's having wine in the afternoon.
Speaking of face, it's
afternoon
very
wine.
fun because like the animation is like Jubilee and Roberta are like, young, so they don't have the like line around their mouth, but the mom has like two black lines around her
Mhm.
mouth, like with the animation, just to like denote that she is older. And I always found
Oh.
that very fun. It's very funny to me.
Oh yeah. I love it. I feel like Daria used to do that on that cartoon show.
Yeah.
More 90s.
Not to make this the Daria podcast, but
Oh yeah. You know Daria is also canon.
I would hope so. I
Yeah.
love Daria.
So she's like watching. Imagine Daria watching all the shit go down on Earth.
And just rolling her eyes.
and just
Yeah,
like
she's
doesn't
like-
care.
Collin Dahlgren, how were your heartstrings doing after Nightcrawler told Jean that family is family, but or blood is blood, but family is a choice?
I was watching it and I was thinking like, oh, Nightcrawler is kind of like the Dr. Phil of the X-Men. Like he has like some pretty obvious takes and he kind of like masks it as like really, like revolutionary opinions. And even though he has no formal training and he shouldn't call himself a doctor.
I think you're getting
Dr. Nightcrawler.
You're getting Nightcrawler and Dr. Phil confused again.
I mean, watch it again. It's very, very easy to.
I mean, Nightcrawler has been giving great reads on all the characters. It's almost like he's written by the showrunner of the show and just kind of inserts what the writers already know they're doing. Crazy.
I mean, I could see that.
So we get this, and then everybody, it's like go team go.
Go.
We are looking. We're on the hunt for some answers. We cut to Magneto, strung up on an X of all letters.
Just like
Jeff,
choose a different letter, like do a U or something. Or
Do you think that's on purpose, or do you think that they just had those?
Well, there is like an iconic, I'm showing my nerd here, but there is an
Please.
iconic like X-Men cover that was illustrated by Mark Silvestri. Mark Silvestri, yeah. And it's like Wolverine in the like strapped to an X, like during the I don't really know what like story it was, but
Hmm.
it's very like nerd famous.
I feel
Cool.
I feel like it's an I feel like, the whole thing's branding. So like when you can show an X, show an
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
Oh, right. X-Men.
X-Men, yeah. Then we get my girl, Dr. Cooper. I love a cartoon who wears glasses.
Oh, yeah.
That's always funny to me when cartoon characters wear glasses. It's like they need help with vision. They're drawn.
Yeah. Well, who's Dr. Cooper? Is she? I mean, she's the blonde lady, but who is
Yeah.
she in the world?
She was with the UN, so this was like a big reveal that she's been on the side of Bastion because she's like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, I love mutants. I'm your friend." And she's like, "Actually, I've been plotting your demise."
Yeah, it's kind of brutal. Everyone's brutal in this.
Hmm.
Just like, I mean, it really, I guess it's like the whole point of the show and the comics, but like, damn, everyone just wants these guys dead.
And then we get like Bastion's like whole raison d'etre. It's like, oh my
Mhm,
God, they're gonna outnumber humans, what, 10-1 in a few years. We can't have that.
mhm.
Even though, bitch, you are one, you self-hating mutant. Um,
But she's a mutant.
no, Bastion is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bastion. Okay.
No, Dr.
Well,
Coops.
Bastion's like half Sentinel, half mutant, half
Yeah.
human, half blonde baddie.
Yeah.
Half blonde baddie.
Pink little puddle.
Pink little puddle.
Ooh. I
Uh,
wonder if that's what he's like called, like behind closed doors. It's just like, who's my pink little puddle?
Yeah.
You're my pink little puddle.
we get a little bit of Bastion's backstory when we visit his home. We meet Mrs. Bastion, his mom.
Very nice lady.
Yeah.
I
Jeff, you
was
like this mom?
Oh, sorry.
I
I
asked
was
Jeff, but Collin,
Oh.
you clearly what's going on?
sorry. I was just responding to the introduction of her. I was like immediately very like no, but
Oh.
like no, just like in the living room, sitting in a chair.
Oh yeah. No, you knew something was up. She was sitting in
Yeah.
this dark little place. Yeah.
She's like, Bastion said you'd be here tomorrow.
Yeah, it was spooky.
I don't have any tea made yet, so let me make you tea.
I was just sitting,
Big boy.
the big one. Yeah, she was really making eyes at Cable. It's really hard not to say Caleb. Cable.
Caleb. Caleb.
Why's his name just Caleb?
I mean,
Very
it's the same letter.
embarrassing.
It's just like mixed around. Yeah.
Very embarrassing to get hit on in front of your mom and dad, or your dad and
Yeah.
your stepmom.
For real, by someone like 2 generations, maybe 3 generations ahead of you. I don't even know.
Yeah. More backstory. We understand the plan of that the Prime Sentinels are just humans who like volunteered because they hate mutants so much, but little do they know that their lives are ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did we see this rogues gallery of who's helping Bastion?
Oh yeah, Dr. Doom,
Dr. Doom. Did
Baron
almost say
Zemo,
Baron Zemo. I really almost said Dr. Zoom. Dr.
Dr.
Doom.
Zoom,
Dr. Zoom.
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil was there.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
You mean Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is Dr. Doom like a medical doctor? What's his doctorate in?
I mean, if you watch the Fantastic Four movie, which I say don't do that,
Don't
he
Which
is
one?
the one from 2005 with Jessica Alba.
All right, I'll watch the other ones instead of that one.
Good.
No, don't do it.
I think he is. I think he's like a scientist doctor.
Okay.
But honestly, he runs his own country, but just terrible, evil people, all on the
Mhm.
side of this staged genocide. Ugh, awful.
Yeah. But aren't they also a little like, yo, Bastion, we'll help you, but you're a little intense even for us.
Yeah, like I gave some money to this, but this is
Yeah.
crazy.
I donated because I hate mutants, but still, like, yikes.
Like, hey,
It's
yeah,
just like
this is too
Getting
much.
flyers in the mail from Bastion and being like, "Hey, I'm still doing this Sentinel thing. Like, you still in?" I'm like, "Oh God."
Oh, God. Yeah, for real.
This is really crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to, I don't know. I was getting like January 6 vibes from this idea of like Bastion enlisting people to like follow his lead and then turn on, everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
These like faithful followers who will follow him anywhere because they're like, well, I hate those people too. I don't know. This show fucking rocks. I just love
It's
how
intense.
relevant it is. Yeah.
I know. I mean, yeah, X-Men is very, dealing with things of the moment. I mean, all that jazz. Do the people know? So the people know that they're getting turned into these machines, or they don't?
I don't think they do. And
Yeah.
and we saw it with like Trish Tilby, who came over to the X Mansion to flirt with Beast, like you do.
Yeah.
And I think it's like when you get this stuff implanted in you, it like switches. There's a switch. Like
Yeah.
she just was like very mocking everybody when she became Prime Sentinel Trish. Wolverine had the great line, "You have terrible taste in women."
Yeah.
I laughed. I laughed.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
You're calling everybody Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
That's, I mean, yeah. Sadly, when Wolverine gets older, it changes from Bub to Bob, and he's like, ah.
Bob, Bob. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
wild. Oh no.
any thoughts on this worldwide attack?
Uh,
Jubilee and Roberto in the mall.
Absolutely epic, because I mean, I don't know. I think anytime that you like turn human, like it's basically like you're fighting them, but you don't want to fight them. So yeah, I guess you don't want to kill them because you don't know if you can reverse it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna fight these people that are trying to kill them without like really doing maximum damage, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I feel like Wolverine did not care whatsoever
Yeah,
if he
that's
killed,
true.
because he just like tore people apart, and then him and Nightcrawler were protecting Rogue and just like laying waste to all these Prime Sentinels.
Amazing. And left and right, Prime Sentinel's getting wasted. And we will get to all that because we have to take something that I hate to waste, and that's a break.
Oh,
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk all about these fantastic action scenes. Nightcrawler had 3 swords. Get the fuck out of here.
that's pretty sick.
Let's keep right here to Podcast 616, and we'll be right back. Gentlemen across the nation, I have an urgent message for you. This episode of Podcast 616 is brought to you by Manscaped. The brand that took your balls to space is now launching them into the Ultra Sphere, introducing the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Featuring a new cutting-edge design and next-generation dual skin-safe blade heads for different shaves, it's pretty much a spaceship to take your boys downstairs to the next level. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with a brand new The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code PRESSPLAY. That is 20% off plus free shipping with the code PRESSPLAY at manscaped.com. Your balls have been through enough. It's time to go ultra with Manscaped.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Collin Dahlgren, rumor has it you would like to talk about the fight scenes in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely, I would. It's the whole reason I did this podcast. Yeah, so I just love the idea of fighting like while you're falling through the air, which is like Wolverine just like gets, rocketed up into the air, and then he's just
So
like
fucking
falling
cool.
and just like getting people on the way down. And then he like goes right back into the hole that he like exited from in the house, like pretty much the same exact hole. And I'm like, what is what is the carpentry to the X Mansion like? Like, who's doing all these fixes? Is there a mutant that just like can manipulate wood and molding?
Woody.
There's gotta be.
Yeah.
Woody.
Well, I know they're like in that, what was that X-Men cartoon, X-Men Evolution, when they were all like teenagers. There was that one character, Spike, who could like produce wooden spikes from his body.
They probably use him a lot.
Yeah.
And there's Crown, the one that can make Crown molding come out of his body.
I love Crown.
Did you know that there's actually a mutant, this is real, called Forget Me Not, which his mutant ability is that he can't be remembered by anyone. And so a lot of the automated things of the X Mansion are just him. Like, if like there's a door that opens, it's just like him opening the door.
Oh my God, that's a sad existence.
I know.
I'm just like, so does he have like, oh, why is this automatic door not working now? And it's because he has to run there. And like,
Damn,
God, this place is falling apart.
that's brutal.
But yeah, he's like also kind of like mean because he, nobody remembers him. He can't make any friends. Like he's just lives a very lonely existence. So therefore, he's not the nicest person.
I don't blame him.
I mean, who would be? You know who is the nicest person? Mrs. Bastion. Um,
Cutie.
when she activates his Prime Sentinel, she's still got that little sweetness to her. As she's like trying to murk the Summers family. I think they had a fantastic action sequence with like destroying yet another X Jet, hilarious, and getting that Porsche
Blown the F up.
blown the F up. I love seeing Jean just wiping the Sentinels off the windshield with her telekinesis. That was funny.
Yeah. Now I had this thought, and this is a dumb thought, doesn't matter at all. But when Cable's like, "You have a Porsche," I'm like, "How does Cable know what a Porsche is? They ain't got Porsches in the future." You think he's just reading up on Porsches?
I think so. I'm sure he has some
Maybe,
kind of like smartphone technology. Just
I want to assume that
pissing
like
some time
Porsche
away.
is the one vehicle he looks up, like he has always wanted a Porsche. It's just a poster of a Porsche in his bunker in the future.
Future bunker.
Yeah, future bunker.
I would agree. I would agree. I just love this like family moment where they have this like this tableau of them jumping through the cave, like Scott's blasting the caves, Jean's driving the car with her mind, and like they just jump through a cave wall and she telekinesis them down, and there's that like power shot of the three of them. I was like, that's family.
They're getting along.
It wasn't. I was like, well, we're gonna teach them not to mess with the Summers, and I'm like, that's such a dad thing to say, even though you're probably the youngest of all three of you there.
Yeah,
Right.
Cyclops is so lame. I mean, he can't help but be a wet blanket tied together by a wet noodle.
He can't help it. I would agree. I think I think Cyclops is. I don't know. What do you want? What do you want? What else can he be? You need that. You need the wet blanket so then you know who the cool ones are.
But when the wet blanket tries to have cool lines, I'm like, shut up.
But then there's like a part of you that's like, that was a cool line, but I'm not going to give it to him. I'm not going to let him know that I liked it.
Speaking of cool lines, I did appreciate Nightcrawler's 9 line because
that was fun.
Everyone's like, I've got 6 reasons, and I was like, no, 9. Collin Dahlgren, I hope you don't German indeed. Shout out to Felicia McLeod who thought Nightcrawler was from Jamaica. Collin Dahlgren. I hope you don't mind me saying, you have a tail much similar to Nightcrawler's. Do you find that it's convenient to put a third object in that tail, much like he did with the sword?
Well, I'm pretty jealous of Nightcrawler's tail because he can actually grip things with it. Mine doesn't grip anything. If anything, I have to like kind of tie it around stuff and drag it behind me if I want to, like bindles or like a trailer hitch, something like that. But it's not really. It doesn't grip.
Yeah. Get you a tail that grips. That's what we always say on this podcast.
Good advice.
Thank you. We get some action over at the mall with Jubilee and Roberto. Jubilee's still not delivering for me on the power front. I need her to do. Did you in episode 4 when she meets her future self? That future self had like she was like making giant firework atom bombs and shooting them places and had like spiral slices. And I just need Jubilee to kind of step it up because I'm sick of the sparklers. I feel like they do nothing. I feel like they do nothing. I just feel like they do nothing. But not what I want to talk about. I did want to talk about Jeff Murdoch, how killer robots who are trying to kill you are bad, but killer robots that gaslight you after they're caught, even worse. What did you make of this scene where Roberto and Jubilee run into the fundraiser party and the robots are like, we're totally not trying to kill you?
Oh, when that happened, I was like, well, fucking A, that's the word. And then when his mom turns him over, it's painful. Yeah. No, if you're gonna try to kill me as a killer robot, you gotta keep the game going. But then when you switch it up and try to make me look like the bad guy because you're trying to kill me, and your parents are like, listen, you should have just listened to the killer robots. You did this to yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Heartbreaking. Poor Roberto. I feel bad. And then also like Jubilee was talking about or like in an earlier episode about how like her like parents who haven't talked to her in a while are like finally asking questions like, is it going to be a war? It's like, damn, dude, these two have a rough upbringing in different ways.
Yeah.
Parents only want to talk to them when they can help them.
Yeah. And if they can't, they're like, well, I won't talk about it. You know, someone who had a pretty decent parent was Bastion, but he's still bad. And he comes to the X Mansion, like, I'm going to shut him down. He gets a message from Mr. Sinister. We don't need to talk about him today. Dr. Cooper let Magneto out. I think we need to give some space to this conversation Dr. Cooper has about, you know, the whole Magneto was right thing. And like when the attack happened, no one was surprised. Collin Dahlgren, I see that you are weeping as we speak. Please,
I'm fine.
Man the fuck up. But how did you feel about this scene?
The fuck up.
X-Man the fuck up.
You know, masculinity is a lot of different things. It's not just one thing. How did I feel? How did I feel about
that moment? That like speech from her of like this inevitability for mutants to always be attacked.
I can't stop crying.
It was crying, folks.
It was good. It was moving. It was like, you know, Magneto was right. It's like always going to be something that's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
Absolutely. Well, it's let me pad the question. Because I feel like it feels like we're reaching this tipping point because there's always been this like debate between Magneto and Professor X of like Professor X is like we need to unite with humanity and Magneto is like no, we need to demolish them before they demolish us. And this is like the first time I feel like in this cartoon series the show is like, you know what, actually Magneto was right. Like it does not work, mutants coming together with humanity. I don't know, it just feels like it's a big franchise question that is pushing the story potentially in a new direction. Am I crazy?
No.
Thank you, Jeff.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. Yeah, I think it is kind of like sad that Magneto's just like, I'm gonna try and be a good boy. I'm gonna try and play by the rules, even though it's not. It like kind of goes against everything I believe, and then it like is tipping towards the scale of like, I told you this is happening.
Yeah,
like nobody believed me. And then it just like ends up happening anyway. And then he's just like, I should have just done the thing that I was going to do instead of trying to be like goody two shoes, you know, GTS.
Jeff knows something about goody two shoes.
I got two of them.
Two of them.
Yeah,
two goody shoes.
Yeah, and they're nice shoes, but they're poorly drawn by that one guy. I forget the artist's name that we are talking about earlier.
The dust
Rob
guy.
Liefeld.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, no, it's so painful to be like, if we were doing things in my way, we wouldn't have lost all these mutants in Genosha. We wouldn't have been, you know, in this situation now. I mean, painful to be. I told you so.
Yeah.
This is the question for the other two in this conversation. Has there ever been a situation like that for you in your personal life to where you're like, I know this is going to go wrong, like, and I'm just going to like let it play out. And then when it goes wrong, you kind of like get that little sense of pride of told you so.
Yeah, I don't think like any huge moments. I feel like it's like small things where like leaving for something where someone's like, oh, it'll be fine if we leave a little bit later. And I'm like, all right. And then we're stuck in traffic. And I'm like, who could have guessed there'd be traffic? Oh, me, Jeffrey Magneto Murdoch could have guessed.
I love a petty Jeff. I'll say that.
Yeah. Being petty is very fun.
But yeah, similarly, I feel like with shows that I'm not a big producer or voice in, I'm just like, I could probably tell you how this is gonna go, but and look, wouldn't you know, it's going bad. I knew it. But even then, I love telling people I told you so. So I usually let them know.
That doesn't seem like you.
But you know who doesn't seem like Miss Magneto, who dramatically goes to the fucking North Pole, and homegirl shuts the world down. She's like, enough. Let me turn this light switch off. We're done.
Pretty wild that Magneto could have done that at any given time. It's like, damn, Magneto's powerful.
Yeah. He's like, I could have shut this whole shit down anytime I wanted.
It's like, I let you all have electricity.
Yeah. And look what you did.
You all fucked it up.
building these
Now-
fucking Wi-Fi robots.
So is everything electronic and it's done on Earth?
Done. Everything.
Yes.
But what about Bastion? I mean, I guess he's still part human, but he's got part robot in there too. Does he like get a little dumber?
I think the thing is like he gets less connected because his thing is like because he does have an ability to communicate with machines, so he can bring them to life,
Yeah.
but he can't bring to life these like bio prime sentinel human people.
Right.
So they're just crash test dummies all over the planet.
Damn.
So it's just a huge EMP that went like all over the world because of Magneto.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Earth losing its magnetism could have dire consequences.
Yeah.
In the future.
Also, doesn't that affect gravity? Pretty sure that affects gravity.
Yeah. If there's oh gosh, we're fucked.
Oh yeah, because it does affect. There's a big. We'll talk about this in part 2. Keep listening for next week for part 2 of this. But there's like a big push of like we have until sundown to fix this because when the sun moves, the Earth's gonna be destroyed.
Yeah.
Magneto
is just like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. And also, shout out, we get a little Spider-Man cameo. I believe that's what is this man's Silver Samurai and Omega Red. I think are the other 2 we saw. Rock
I
on.
know all these characters from playing the game Marvel Snapped.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Marvel be snapping. And then of course, not to be outdone, Professor X shows up, crashing into an already destroyed school with his fucking fly helmet.
Yeah.
It has a whole like park around it. Like you could have crashed into any part of that manor. Like you gotta crash into the actual foundation.
Well, I wonder if it's because the magnetism. So that thing can't fly no more. It's gone. Magneto like ruined it all, and it's like, I can't fly this thing.
I've lost stick. I've lost stick.
Yes, Professor X lost stick, but you know what? We never lose on this podcast. Fuck, marry, kill.
Ooh, speaking about stick,
listeners, we've done something very interesting with this fuck, marry, kill. Normally, I tell my guests ahead of time who their choices are, but I couldn't even think. And if I'm honest, it came to me this morning.
Ooh.
So you're gonna listen to them in real time, come up with these decisions. I've already made my piece, and I'm excited. So on the docket for this fuck, marry, kill for Tolerance is Extinction Part 1, we've got the man from the future, Cable. Beefy guy. Bastion, the villain of the season, a little pink and purple people eater. And our third slot, Bastion's mom, Mrs. Bastion. As everyone knows, once a character has been said, they are burned for the season, and we're in the end, and it's slim pickings out here.
But we got Bastion.
Bastion.
We got Bastion in for this thing. And Cable, those are 2 good ones.
Yeah,
those
honestly, those are like first round draft pick.
Yeah.
Buckables.
Okay, great. Stay tuned for the next 2 episodes because it's going to get pretty...
We're thinking Bastion's janitor dad.
Yeah.
Who's that guy in the back corner?
Yeah, what about that one guy, the butler?
Oh, thank you, Jeff. The butler. I did remember him.
Ooh, the butler did. I did the butler.
I did the butler in the library with my dick.
Yeah.
I will go.
Clue.
I will go first to give my guests time to think. For my picks, let's see. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Bastion. I'm gonna kill you. Nothing about this excites me. I'm so sorry. So I'm gonna kill the mom. I think I'm just gonna.
You heard it first. Damon takes joy in killing moms.
Exclusively.
X-Men exclusively.
X-Men exclusively. It's a fact. For my fuck, I'm gonna fuck Bastion. I will be blindfolded because I would just want to hear the sweet tones of Theo James. That's a great voice. That's a great voice. I know we're on a podcast and we all have been using our voices, but Theo James's voice, she great.
Oh, it's honestly maybe a little bit better than ours.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's sultry. It's definitely more sultry than ours.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
For my Mary, I'm marrying the big guy. I'm marrying me Cable. Cable's great. Cable looks great. Beef. He's got. I think because I understand his origin better, I can see where his his issues lie, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can fix him. I know how to fix him. It's gonna be a struggle because I'm very anti-clone, but
Damn. Yeah.
I'm gonna break down this caste system and join with a half clone.
Honestly, Damon, great three choices.
Thank you.
And
Jeff, would you like to go next?
yeah, and it's gonna be very boring, but I'm doing the exact same three as you. I feel like Bastion's mom brought us nothing. She was a
Nada.
weird little old lady sitting in the dark. No offense to little old ladies, but like when the other two are so powerful, do I want to be tied down to a woman that is just a pawn? At least what I know of her is just a pawn. I'm sure she's got a rich backstory. She's lived her life. She worked for the PTA. She was a good mother. She was a good mother, but I gotta take her out. Okay, I can't be schmoozing with a prime sentinel.
Good.
And that I'm gonna f that sultry little Bastion while he's trying to turn me into one of his primes. I'm just like saying, no, you're not using me, I'm using you.
Oh, I love
I'm
this.
turning you into one of my prime sentinels, and instead of using technology, I'm using my wiener.
Mhm.
And then last but
Use
not
it.
least, of course, it's my marriage to Cable. He's got a lot of issues, daddy issues and mommy issues,
Yeah.
even and Bishop issues too. He's got a lot of
Bishop.
issues. But yeah, no, I think that he's good at heart. It brings up the whole nurture versus nature thing. Like he is just good at heart, and I think we could have a good time. And he can go to the future when on his vacations, and I'll stay in the present on mine, and we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
And hopefully space and time won't collapse with that happening.
I hope so. I really
You'll be
hope
the time traveler's wife.
I'll be the time traveler's wife, and
The Eric Bana.
Eric Bana.
Wonderful picks, Jeff. Collin Dahlgren. Bring us home.
Well, I think we're all agreed that we're all killing Bastion's mom.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. It's just kind of like it's a little too obvious.
Yeah.
Definitely what Jeff said. Just kind of like you're a pawn. You're a nothing.
You're nothing.
You're worthless.
Yeah.
You're nothing to me. You're an ant beneath my foot, and
you are pathetic.
You're pathetic. You're a yes man or yes woman or yes mom.
Yes, robot.
Yeah, yes, robot. I am gonna switch it up though. I'm gonna fuck Cable.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I got to find out what that arm do.
Oh,
What that metal arm do, and that
Yeah.
those metal fingers and little tendrils.
Guess see what's in that pouch.
Yeah, I
That's
gotta
true.
put
Go
gotta
through
put my
every one of his pouches.
I gotta put my
It's
little
just
wiener in every
condoms.
single one of those pouches.
They're all condoms. They're all condoms.
Why does it have to be little?
Put my tiny little wiener in every single one of those pouches.
No. Oh my God.
Got to be one that fits.
There's so many. There has to be one.
A lot of different sizes. You know,
I love it.
every
Tale saves
pouch.
time.
Yeah.
Every pouch is an opportunity. And then
That's what's embroidered behind you on the wall.
Thank you. And then Bastion, gotta marry Bastion because I'm gonna tell you, my style game would go up to here. Like Bastion would be my personal stylist and be like, we're going out for like a dinner or something. And he's like, I don't think that you're wearing the right clothes. And then he would very lovingly put me like back into, the bedroom and be like, this is what you're wearing. And I would appreciate just kind of like his, man of action, telling me what is right for me style wise.
Thank you for bringing that up. We haven't talked about how Bastion dresses everyone like himself. They all have to wear the Bastion uniform.
Oh yeah.
Or at least like the accents of pink.
Yeah.
Like everybody needs an accent.
Like a little pink and black situation.
So, the Bastion fashion.
And I'm glad we got there, folks. That's the episode. But thank you all for joining us. Jeff Murdoch, could you let people know where can they find you online? What are you
find
doing?
me. Okay, well, you can find me online at J Murdoch, wherever online is sold. I also do a podcast called Mystery County Monster Hunters Club. It's nerdy, so if you like nerdy stuff, you're gonna like that. Yeah, that's me.
Very cool. I think I might be stopping by that podcast soon.
I'm told you're joining us next week.
Well, yes, but when
For
this
recording.
we're calm down, everybody.
Yeah,
Who knows
don't
when it's
worry. We'll get Damon in there. You'll hear the podcast in a couple weeks after that, probably. But
out. Much like this
behind the
podcast.
curtain, yeah.
We're in real time though.
Yeah. IRL.
Hello.
IRT.
This is my time travel podcasting, setting this to the future.
Mm-hmm.
Collin Dahlgren, what's up with you? Where are you at?
Where am I at? I am on the internet as well, much like Jeff Murdoch. And my main interest is my movie trivia daily Instagram, where people can play the games that I put forth as far as movie trivia goes. And every single month is themed, and at the end of the month, whoever is the top three gets money donated to a charity of their choice. And it's just like a real fun thing to do. It's on Instagram exclusively under movie_trivia_daily.
Nice.
Good questions. I can't win it because everyone's so much smarter than me, but good questions.
People do like chime in pretty early, which kind of like gives me like joy, but also scares me.
Because of how quick they are.
Yeah.
Damn. You can follow me, Damon Royster, on Instagram as Black Chandler. That's BLK as in Black and Chandler as Chandler Bing. My short film Surgeons, I believe the campaign, it might be still going on. Donate to Surgeons, please. What a great little film. But if you want to follow this podcast, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at podcast616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, the podcasting network that lets me make my human sentinels whenever I want to. Thank you to my guests, Jeffrey and Collin. Those are their names. And then
you've been talking to us for the last hour.
Wow.
Who are you?
You had to look at the screen directly at us.
I think it was really just like whether to call you Jeff or Jeffrey.
Oh, very, very polite.
Yeah, I'm a polite person. Thank you both for being here. Thank you, producer Michael, wherever you are. I hope you are well, and I'm sure he would give this podcast an A++. And we're going to keep going with this finale. Part 2 is next week, but until that time, please remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility.